You're learning with a challenging coworker. So I'm pretty sure if anybody's gotten to work, they've probably had somebody that's just stand up the back of their hairs. It's not easy working with a challenging coworker, especially if that person's impeding your progress. One quick thing that I always do with any challenging coworker or someone that it doesn't seem to want to listen is document. Whatever you have just spoken with them, you will send them an email. Hopefully you're doing that anyways as part of our communications that we learn is that we should be documenting everything so that when they come back and they say, no, you said this, this, and this, you can come back and say, well, here's the email of what we spoke of, and I outlined exactly what was expected to try to avoid this. I can't see how, you were believing that you needed to go and do this instead of the other thing. So it's always documenting, making sure also to remain calm, right? I came across with a person who unfortunately was a project manager from corporate. So this is one of my, when I was only what they call a program manager at that time. I wasn't a portfolio manager, so a program manager, so you can understand, I was the manager of all telecom projects. And he was a portfolio manager from corporate. So he kind of, by title, superseded me. Bottom line, unfortunately, he was not familiar with telecom. He was more of a portfolio manager of everything that had to do with UPS. He unfortunately did not take my guidance when I was talking to him in the classroom and wanted to run wires that were over 750 feet long copper Ethernet cables. If anyone is fully aware, there's only 100 meters, 300 feet maximum that you can actually run. That is common science or common sense to any telecom technician or person in telecom. I obviously informed them that this was an impossible feat. The only thing that would work in that distance would be voice. Doesn't have the mandate as we have for Ethernet. He went over my helmet, as they say in Spaceballs, and he went directly towards the vendor, who then certified these 7 cables over 300 something feet. As I said, there were 700 something feet total each cable. Each cable came out to about 300 something dollars to drop. That's 2,100 real quick for anyone. The fiber was 3,500. Since it was more, he said, well, obviously, I'll go with the cheaper one. Although we had our verbal conversation and he continued to push, I made sure that I wrote the email and copied his manager and mine. So it was clear what I said was going to work compared to what he said is going to work. He has the money. He has control of the buying power at that point. We can't take it personal, guys. You need to relax and calm down because of the point that if I would have just gone crazy and just start yelling at this guy, I have lost completely. I can only inform him the information when something's out of your control. All you could do is that. Bottom line, obviously, he went and did what he believed that the contractor told him. A week has come by and nothing is working. The other side of the building is not coming up. Obviously, everybody came to me, started complaining, and said, well, how did this happen? Well, I explained it. Short story, a little bit. That gentleman got promoted, which I always like to say, and was removed from his title and worked, I don't know where after that. After the second time he did something in the Americas like that, and me documenting everything on what I was telling him, and him obviously, as your friend, I like to take a little bit of a political break there, Trump is doing, he's taking his own algorithm and obviously deciding on his own that he is correct. is very dangerous when we go and get upset. A challenge in generation graduates often face is that they come across with colleagues who act like they don't care in their job. So sometimes uh, they make fun of us, or they try to uh, play it out, or think that we are too serious, and we are not there to have fun. We're here to work. And at the same time, always we need to stay positive and focus on our job. And when working with challenging coworkers, that unfortunately is going to be always. There's not, no matter what country you go to, that is going to happen. That was another thing I tried. I decided I got tired of Hialeah and everybody here, so went to go work in another country, and guess what? I still got the same flavors, just in a different language. In what past job or life experience have you experienced a challenging coworker or person? Can somebody give us their own little? Well, make me pick you.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll go.
I want to jump in real quick, guys, and tell you something that's kind of a proactive when it comes to this question, because when you're being hired for a job, they will ask you this. So
Yeah.
we have to think proactive when it comes to this, and have a story to tell. So and we all find them, right and left. We find difficult situations with people. Um, and the workplace is a perfect environment for these relationships to happen, where you see somebody that doesn't have your same mentalities, the same ways, and you end up clashing. But having a quick answer for this is good, and we all have them. So just a little point there to remember.
Okay. We had a volunteer.
That would be me.
Go ahead.
So I had an employee that she was actually a good employee, but she had a serious issue of sometimes not caring to do the job. So I worked in a hotel with front desk, and yeah, sure, she'll get along with the guests, but she sometimes was too personal. So what happens is if a guest upset her, she will talk back to the guests, and then since I was there, I was managing duty, I have to do compensation. And every time I ask her, please don't call back, she'll keep doing that. Sometimes she won't do work. She's great with guests, but doing the actual work as in checking people in, making sure things are supplied, and certain tasks was never able to accomplish ever. But I had to report it, and
Yeah.
then
Report the facts,
management
right?
handled
Not our opinion, but the facts is the thing that we need to report, right?
it.
And
Yeah,
report it
just
as
that.
it is, not as we think that they're doing. Never give our opinion of the situation. Just tell them exactly what is happening. Don't like, for instance, I if I was you, I wouldn't tell my boss, oh, I think she just doesn't care. No, that's not what she told me. She didn't say that. That's up to you and my boss's interpretation of the facts. And you did a perfect example. You went to the details. What is it that person's not doing, or avoiding to do, or purposely doing? Even worse, because sometimes they do something, like you said, starts arguing with the customer and giving them bad feedback. Those are things that we just want to report, as long as we
And
try to make
drinking.
sure we don't make it sound personal or our opinion.
Yeah,
Thank
drinking
you.
is a thing that she did that I know it's a lot of people have difficulties handling when people drink on the job.
Mhm. What were some useful strategies or things you did in order to manage the person's challenging your behavior? Oh, anybody had any strategies or anything that they might have done to manage that person challenging behavior? What could have Lazaro done, if anybody can give suggestions to the
I would say
situation?
sometimes some people don't even know what they're doing is wrong. Like they don't understand that what they're doing is not correct. And sometimes you have to like maybe remind them like, hey, like they expect better of us here or something like that.
Total aloof of the situation. And I think there's a
Okay.
saying in Spanish, right? Es o se hace. I'm sorry, Mohammed.
Can I?
Yeah, Ahmad. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a co-worker. She was very professional, but only in her work. But she was always late, making excuses. So my manager did that. That she will give her the work with the max deadlines because her customers did not complain.
Mm,
So she was able to manage an employee who was very good at her job.
thank you.
So I think sometimes you need to manage with the employees because they are good at the job.
Thanks. So, Daniel, how might having a persistent mindset help you manage a person's challenging behavior? How can persistence help?
If you're persistent with changing the mindset of that coworker, then you can make them actually better at their actual job, and actually do what they're needed to do versus like them not doing or performing in activities of their job.
Okay, so let's pretend you're being persistent with me, Daniel, and I tell you, you're not my boss.
Well, I'm gonna have to. I can't convince you that I'm not your boss. I'll tell you that I'm not your boss. But
It gets a little bit harder, right? It's a little bit.
It's
a
not
little bit
it's not easy,
easier.
but like it depends on the situation too. I mean, like on how you're presenting this. Like you have to have some kind of like way of talking to them, like to like trying to convince them to like to do their job, not in a bossy way, but in a polite manner where they
Exactly.
respect you.
We need to respect them as we want them to respect us. So if we're staying calm and being persistent and trying to explain and trying to get that feedback, and if that's not working, we need to understand. We need to step away. If I'm not that person's boss and they are right, they're not willing to listen to me, I have no problem letting your boss know you don't want to do what he asked me to tell you to do. I tell you that straightforward. I remember one night, right before I became manager, I was a specialist. And so they had asked me to go in to the help desk and to talk to the technicians that were in there. And there was a guy that's been there, we'll call him again still Mikey for now before I forget his name. And basically, he told me that. He goes, "You're not my boss. What are you talking about?" But I could tell because of the confidence that we had with each other that he was just messing around with me, and it was most likely in the room the comment. So he was just challenging me to see what I said. And I look at him and I go, "You're right. I got no problem. I'm just relaying what's about 5 feet across from here on that side of the wall. If you like, I can go over there and ask the manager, Frank, to come on in here, and he can relay exactly the message that he just asked me for you to do. If you don't want to understand me, I'm pretty sure he'll be able to hopefully translate in a language that you can understand." He's like, "I'm just playing with you, man. Don't worry about it, man. I'm just playing with you." He goes, you are a real good boss." He goes, "All right, man, I'm here to work. If you guys want to play games, we can play games, but realize that ultimately I'm not coming up with these. These are things that are being relayed as tasks for the team, and we're here to work together as a team. If you don't want to work as a team, I have no problem. You can go and talk to your boss, see if he wants to delegate you to something else. Don't take it personal, guys. You'll be surprised how many people get stressed in work and still to this day take work too serious and too personal because they want their work to shine and they want their boss to see that. But when we take it too much, stress starts to be basically the factor, and we're not going to do our job very effective. In what ways
I
could
feel like that in the workforce all the time. I just have to say that.
yeah? In what ways
Hey,
could
sorry,
yeah?
Diego.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say a little about persistence, that it works at different levels too, right? At times, persistence could be about our own values when it comes to our work ethic and what we do with our presentation, how we present ourselves in the workplace. There might be a culture, a negative culture in the workplace, but that doesn't mean we have to succumb to that. So we need to have the persistence to stick to our own morale and ethics to maintain our own levels and not because negativity is contagious in the workplace. Before you know, people start talking bad mouthing the manager or other co-workers, and we have to persist and understand what it is that we stand and maintain that level of representation. That was it.
Thank you. So our key learning objectives is to discuss ideas for working with a challenging coworker and how this will benefit you in your career overall. We're going to take maybe about a 5-minute break, 5 minutes here to work as groups. You're going to have a facilitator, a recorder, a time manager, and a reporter. Spend 3 minutes reading all of the questions slightly. There is, as always, inside your classwork dealing with this one, you should see a handout to be able to facilitate the process. And as always, if we do not have enough time, time is of the essence. You'll be able to work on it for the rest of the day. This is a live session. That means we do not have until Monday. We have until the end of day today to turn it in, unless if you like to ask nicely. There we go, guys. Let me open up the break rooms. So how did it go? Everything good? Will you guys be able to work on it? As I stated, you have until the end of the day today. As always, after class, I'll leave the rooms open. Pretty much this session's finishing up, as we've stated. Dealing with a challenging coworker requires, obviously, patience and, on your part, professionalism and documentation at all times.
Mm-hmm.
You guys find it interesting at all, or difficult, or?
No, it was pretty simple and straightforward. I mean, we got to work together and we all talked about like different experiences with challenging coworkers and we came to all conclusions. It was pretty good.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.